friends, in this video we will be analyzing the previous year questions from the Indian Sociology, that is our MSO4 paper for the MA Sociology students. So through this video we will be analyzing the PYQs and are trying to provide you a guest paper so that you can prepare the hot topics or the important topics for the examination. So we have wait a second, we have been able to classify the questions from each topics under each heads. Okay, so we'll be analyzing it now. So from the topic of emergence of sociology in India, so consistently there have been questions. So 2019, 20, 22, 23, 24 and in 25 both sessions we have questions from this topic. Okay, so let's discuss the social background of emergence of sociology in India, the approaches, examine the approaches of Western scholars to study Indian society, again emergence of sociology in India, trace the emergence of sociology in India. So emergence of sociology in India, this is a topic that you should be prepared for while approaching the examination. Okay, so the same question has been asked in different ways, but the answer is the same. Okay, so yeah, in 2025 December session, the social economic context for the emergence of sociology has been asked. So this is the topic that you must be prepared for. Okay, then there is another topic. So in the past 3 years it has not been asked. It mainly the approaches, discuss the major approaches to understand Indian society. Okay, I think it was asked in 2024. Okay, here I have quoted it here. Okay, so discuss the major approaches. There is many major approaches like the colonial perspective, the Indology and the Orientology. Okay, you should be able to prepare that as well. So while learning the emergence of sociology, you will be able to learn also the various approaches. So these two topics are complementary to each other. Okay, and critically examine the major approaches of Western scholars to understand Indian society. Explain the various approaches used by the Westerns. Okay, all are the same questions but asked in different ways. Now, evolution of sociology. So, the sociology has emerged in India, then sociology undergo several changes in each decade. So, I have provided the classes for this in the Manglish language in my YouTube channel, so you can watch it as well. Okay, the English classes will soon be uploaded. So, the evolution of sociology. So in the 1950s and 60s, what happened? In the 1970s, what happened? Okay, again the 1970s questions emerge. Okay, in 2025, no questions were from this topic, so we can expect this from this for the 2026 examinations. Okay, so discuss the growth of sociology as a discipline. In this questions, they are indirectly asking what were the evolutions happened to the sociology discipline throughout the years. Okay, you can also add contemporary examples from it as well if you want. Okay, so these are what are the sociological dimensions highlighted in the early sociological writing on India. These all requires the same answer, evolution of sociology. Okay, but the first question only demands what happened during the 1950s and 60s. Third questions only the 1970s. All other questions, okay, all other questions you need to address what happened in the 1950s, 60s and as well as in the 1970s. So you learn one answer and you can approach all these questions. Okay, so whenever it was asked in both the July and December examinations. And one of the important perspective, caste. Okay, caste is an important subject as matters to in the Indian society, so does to the MA Sociology examination. So there are different perspectives on caste, all are asked. So discuss the colonial perspective on caste was asked in 2024. It has been consistently asked. Okay, so the about caste you should be able to study the colonial perspective, the social structure of Indian village, it mainly focusing on the caste system. Okay, then another important topic is the book view and field view of caste. The note of these topics are also uploaded in my Telegram channel. Okay, you should I will pin the link to my Telegram channel in the description box. The descent approach to understanding caste system. So colonial perspective, book view and field view, descent approach. Then also colonial perspective was asked, Ambedkar, we know Ambedkar is someone who stood for the lower caste, who stood for their rights. So Ambedkar's view is as important as anything else for this topic. Again, colonial rulers category was used in the official records of colonial rulers. That is, the colonial perspective is indirectly been asked here. Again, book view and field view is asked. Caste, class, gender, three pillars of Indian structure discusses different. It is not asking for the approaches, but it is asking for the impact of caste, class, and genders as Indian social structure. So in this answer, you could be able to bring the perspective. Okay, the colonial perspective says this, the Ambedkar says that. Okay, you can also quote that answers in this question. Again, another important perspective is the Brahmanical interpretation of caste. It has been asked consistently. Okay, 2019, 2020. Again, field view asked, Dr. Ambedkar view, and in 2025 December session, book view and field view was again asked. In 2025 June session, it was on Ambedkar's view. Okay, for caste, you should be able to learn the colonial perspective, the book view, field view, and Ambedkar views, as well as a Brahmanical perspective. So at least 4 perspectives on caste you should be knowing as a MA Sociology student. Then about the census, only once was asked, if I'm sure, but we know a socio-economic caste census is going on in this year, so it is more likely that this question would come. So how did census contribute to the manifestation of identity politics? So census and identity politics in colonial India. Okay, in colonial India was asked. So there is more likely that this question might reappear in this year's examination due to the current affairs, like the census is going on right now. Okay. Anyway, it was only asked once, so you can skip it if you want. There are other important topics as well. So the class is another important topic as caste. So discuss the place of social classes and gender hierarchy. So classes was combined with gender in this question in the Indian social structure. Explain middle class. Elaborate the concept of middle class. Again, middle class is asked. How do caste, class, and gender? See, this question was also seen in, like, when we were discussing the caste, like in 2021 December session, it was asked caste, class, and gender as 3 pillars. Again, it was asked in 2025. Okay, how caste, class, and gender form the foundation of social structure. Explain the relationship between gender and caste. Okay, so gender and caste. Gender is here. Okay, it was supposed to under this head. Discuss the place of social classes and gender hierarchy in Indian social structure. Okay, so from class, 2 times it was asked about the middle class perspective, and in most other cases it combined with caste and gender, and the questions were on how does it impact or how does it affect the Indian social structure. So while learning caste, you should be able to connect it with class and gender. Okay, that's how the questions from this topic class is happen. So if you learn caste and the various perspectives, the 4 perspectives on it, then you will be able to link what is class and how it is related to caste and gender. Then another important contemporary topic is the marriage. The institution of marriage. Is the institution of marriage universal in India? It was one question. Like, is marriage same all throughout the India? Not only the customs, but also the way it is happening, the way who is more powerful here, or is there equality? There is patriarchal relationship, matriarchal relationship, egalitarian relationship, so all such things. And again, we know there are many new trends like the living relationships as well. Okay, so we would be able to quote those things here. 2025 December session, the last examination also has the changing patterns of marriage, the living relationships and all, with suitable examples were asked. Okay, so marriage is a good topic. If asked, we should be able to bring more thinkers to it and should be able to write the answer. Then industrialization, it is also a good topic. How industrialization, migration, urbanization are interrelated. So it is connecting industrialization with migration and urbanization, which we will discuss below. Is India entering into a post-industrial society? Okay, this question was asked in 2024. Also, I haven't quoted here. It was also asked in the 2025 December session. It was the 10th question. Okay, do you remember it? So it's India entering into a post-industrial society. Okay, now the impact of industrialization and population growth on traditional commons in India. So traditional commons, these were actually interlinked with the topics of tribes. Okay, compare and contrast Gandhi and Nehru views on industrialization. Again, in 2025, the same question repeated. Discuss the various patterns on migration and explain the reasons. Okay, so such migration. So we will discuss this question under the migration head. So far from the topic of industrialization, Gandhi's and Nehru's views are important. Okay, so yeah, main question is Gandhi's and Nehru's views, and then the interrelation between industrialization, migration, and urbanization. Now let's discuss on working class. Describe the growth of working class in India. Okay, so many of the times it has been asked regarding, so working class usually means the middle class family. Okay, so it has been interlinked with that topic. So if you learn working class and middle class together, then it will be a huge reward. Okay, now migration. The trends of migration in India. Explain the types, factors, and trends of migration in India. Impact of migration in rural society in 2025 December. So about migration, it is asking about the trends, then the types, the factors, and the impact. Okay, whenever you are learning something, you should be able to underline why it is happening, the factors, what types are there, what are its impacts, and what are its trends. There will be new trends, like, okay, with evolving social phenomena, social society, there are increasing trends. Then another hot topic, tribes, like caste, tribes. You are like 1 or 2 questions from this topic you will get. In some years, like in 2023 June, if you see here, 2 questions were coming from this topic. So it's a highly rewarding topic, tribes. Okay, so if you are lucky, you might get 2 questions, that is 40 marks of questions from a single topic. Okay, so let's discuss the nature of social differentiation, how they are differentiated. That was asked. The emerging dimensions of social differentiation, again the same question. Then comes the perspectives. Discuss critically G.S. Gurey's perspective on tribes. Again in 2022 December, G.S. Gurey was asked. Okay, and again G.S. Gurey along with Warrior Elvin's perspectives on tribes was asked. So such perspectives of G.S. Gurey and Warrior Elvin, that you should be able to understand. Then here, elucidate the significance of commons. Okay, we have seen the commons earlier integrating with other topic. We'll discuss the emerging, elucidate the significance of common among the tribes in India. Then explain the various processes of tribal transformation. Nothing, just that social differentiation. Critically evaluate G.S. Gurey. Okay. Discuss the various facets of social differentiation. See, if you learn about the social differentiation of tribes and G.S. Gurey's and various Elvin perspective, you should be able to address almost all of the questions from this topic. Tribes are homogeneous social groups. Critically examine. Various challenges are encountered by the tribal commons. Again, tribal commons, various Elvin's and G.S. Gurey's perspective. Explain the various facets and implication of transformation of tribal identity. So the changes, that's the social differentiation plus the changes. Write a short historical account of tribal protest in independent India. So it's something new from the examination perspective. It is asking about the tribal protest in pre-independent India. We know there were many tribal revolts, okay, which had troubled the Britishers. So if you are interested in modern India perspective, you can learn it as well, but it has not a repeating question as part of the MA Sociology. But if you like it, you can learn. But the limited time, I would say avoid that question. Learn the Elvin's and Gurey perspective and about social commons, traditional commons, and the nature of social differentiation. Again, significances of commons, various facets of social differentiation, tribal protest. Okay, it was asked in 2019 and 2020 only. Okay, so I will tell you can leave that question. Critically reflect on British official understanding of tribal situations in India. Okay, so in 2025 June, we know the colonial perspective of caste was very prominent. Now the questions have been started asking about the traditional colonial perspective on tribes. Okay, it's a new trend emerging in 2025 June, so they might repeat. They might go with this trend. Okay, so keep that in mind. Critically analyze the impact transcriptization among the tribes in India. So that's an important question, impact of transcriptization. Okay, then in 2025 December, again various Elvin's perspective was asked. Okay, so in 2025 June also two questions came from the single topic. Okay, those who learned that was very lucky to write that examination. So tribe is such an important topic. Then comes the religion. Okay, so the role of religion in Indian society was asked in 2024. Then the interrelation between religion and culture. Again, interrelationship between religion and culture. Comparatively analyze major sociological approaches. Okay, sociological approaches on religions was asked. Again, interrelationship between religion and politics, socio-religious and cultural bonds. See, even in 2025 June, it was asked religion and culture. What are the interrelationship between religion and culture? So do check our Telegram group for its notes. Okay, so religion and culture is a hot topic, a very important topic. Now the culture. Majority of the questions from culture have been asked from interrelation with religion, but it was also asked culture and common. Differentiate between culture and commons with suitable illustrations. Okay, so that also you can learn. Now comes a major peasant and farmers movement. So far the topics you should not be avoiding tribes, caste, class, and the emergence of sociology. You make sure you don't skip that topics. Now the peasant and farmer movements. Changing nature of the peasant movements in India. Changing nature of peasant movements again. Undifferentiated peasant society. That is the changing nature. So learn one answer and you should be able to attend all these questions. Emerging features of peasant movement in India. Okay, same question. Then comes the social movements. Old and new social movement. It was even asked for the civil service aspirants once. Differentiate between old and new social movements. I think they were inspired from our new topic. Then the changing nature of social movements was asked. What is new social movement? Again, repetition question. Write a short note on the components of social movements. Okay, same question, same answer. Again, old and new social movements. Now a simple question: what is social movement? And distinguish between old and new social movement. So here, so in the topic of social movements, learn this question: what is the differentiate between old and new social movements? And study a proper definition for what a social movement is. Okay. Now globalization, like we know, when it was asked on industrialization, it tried to link it with urbanization and globalization. So here you can learn about globalization. So the questions from globalization are usually asked about its impact. Here in the first question, 2024 impact on middle class, 2023 impact on Indian society. Okay, that was a major question. Then the next important thing is it interrelationship between globalization, culture, and identity. Also globalization and social change. So interrelationship between, we should be, while learning two topics, we should be able to interlink them. Okay, so that you can study for two answers and address a third answer which is totally different from what we have studied. Okay, now again urbanization, we know interlinkage from this topic is usually asked. Other than the interlinkages, usually the impact is asked. Problem, what are the problems? That is the impact. See how many times it has been asked. Impact or effect, all are the same. Wow, even in 2025 December it asked. Now agrarian social structure. So farmer and peasant movements, we can also interlink with this topic. So what are the changes? Okay, the new social movements and all. How green revolution impacted it. This is an important aspect. Even 2025 December it was asked how green revolution has brought fundamental changes. Okay, so basically the impact of green revolution. Okay, now the village studies, significance of village studies. We have recorded the classes for it in our YouTube channel. Secularization, Indian and Western model of secularization. What are the major change differences? But it has only been asked 3 times. But this is a very easy answer. If you can just read and go write this answer. Then about kinship, discuss the major approaches to study approaches. Explain the alliance approach, significance of the descent theory. So from the topic of kinship, the questions are usually about the major approaches. Then comes the family, the conflict perspective. Usually here also majorly the different approaches are asked. Conflict perspective, field and text views. Again 2025 text and field view. Okay, household. So these are some miscellaneous questions which was asked only once. Mixed economy and commons, existence of commons into difficult proposition, socio-economic dimension. Okay, so this common, the cultural commons was asked with interlinkage with so many topics. So it's something, if you learn about the commons only, you should be able to write it for all these answers. About on analysis, we can say about more than 10 questions were about commons in the past 6 years. So it's important that you should be able to learn about the commons as well.